crunch time, that in the third and the fourth quarters, that's when you really have to watch out. But because mistakes in Game 7s are magnified simply because of the game and what it means, no one wants to make a mistake. No one wants to make that silly penalty. No one wants to get caught with that extra man on the field. No one wants to get caught being upfield when they should be back defending. Those are the things, the pressures that come about in Game 7 that both teams must fight on right now, the pressures.
And ironically, the Sockers in that first period made two crucial mistakes. One, the too many men on the field, which is strictly their mistake. And secondly, perhaps you could blame Ladouceur for going in with a high kick when he knew they were at 5 fouls, but in the heat of action, it's often difficult to make that judgment of whether or not the foot is up high enough to draw the foul or not. Obviously, in that case, the officials felt it was. So still 1:05 left in the Minnesota power plays. We now start the second period. 1-0 Sockers on the goal by Quinn from Addy Coker at 7:08. Sockers outshot the Strikers 12-5 in the first period. Here's Quinn with a short-handed steal, and he takes it into the Minnesota zone, and down the right side, he's got Segota. Quinn for Bronco, and he just missed a chance to make it 2-0. Segota pressuring Goossens back in that Minnesota zone, but he fouls number 11. But probably a good foul to take because it gives him a chance to get back to the bench and get Namdar back on, who is, of course, part of the... Now it's Hudson. Back out for Thompson. Edge of the area, and it'll roll back in for Jim Gorsuch. But we're going to get a penalty.
They're going to say Jim Gorsuch was out of the box, I believe.
It will be to Gorsuch for handling the ball outside the area. And the Sockers get called for their third penalty. The Strikers don't have any. We also get an official's timeout on the field. 7:32 left in the second period. 1-0 Sockers. We'll be back tomorrow starting at 5:30 with the Joker's Wild, followed at 6 by the new Tic-Tac-Toe. Then at 6:30, it's Dick Clark's exciting $100,000 pyramid. The fun never stops on TV 69. Don't miss it. Now a penalty to the Sockers for handball by Jim Gorsuch outside the area. Comes at 7:28. And now a great free kick for the Strikers and a chance to take advantage of another San Diego miscue.
Well, again, when it's 1-0 right now, and every mistake could turn out to be a big one, this is certainly something the Sockers have to be wary of for the next couple of minutes. Addy Coker will spend the 2 minutes in the box.
And the free kick right at the edge of the San Diego area, just a few feet away from the back wall and the side of the box. Vega stands over it, back for Koutsoukis, and his shot is blocked by Kevin Crow. Kevin chasing down the rebound along the boards. Koutsoukis has it knocked away by Quinn. And now the Sockers will drop back in their penalty-killing formation. Quinn, Clavillo, Crow, and Namdar. They've killed off 2 already. And they lead 1-0. Koutsoukis now working in the middle. Shot kicked out by Kevin Crow. Rebound back down to Lodovegas. 7 minutes to go in the period. Here's Goossens winding up, and they score. And it's 1-1, and the Sockers cannot take the penalties with that kind of frequency eventually, and usually 1 out of 3 times you're going to pay, and that's exactly what happens as Goossens ties it.
And Goossens that time just got a free ball and drilled it home. But again, you point out, Randy, they put themselves in that own situation with a handball called on Gorsuch. Goossens just cranks it up off the rebound, high to the right side, and Jim Gorsuch had no chance at all.
Crow was moving right in front of Gorsuch at the time as well. May have screened him a little bit. So we're tied at 1 here in this championship game. Free kick Sockers. Along the boards is V out there with Coker, Collier, Schmetzer, and Quinn. Julie feeds it out to Collier. He scores! Collier got all of this one, Chuck.
This man is not called on to score too often, but he cranks up the right foot this time and stones Lazzeri to the short side. and the Sockers bounce back and get the momentum back at 2-1.
Talking about bouncing back, that ball was bouncing just ever so slightly, and that gives it the extra speed. If the ball's in the air when he hits it, it's like a drop kick. You can really get something on it. And Collier nailed that one. 2-1 Sockers, and what a way to snuff out the expectations of the strikers after tying on left here. The type of strategy Ron Newman uses, Alan Merrick will do so as well. And now the strikers take a timeout. So they will use the 60-second timeout here to talk about strategy and set up their extra attacker situation. And actually, it's a two-man advantage with the Sockers off on a penalty as well. Well, coming up in 2 weeks on Saturday, June 10th. So now the kick in from the far boards. Kutsuka standing over it. Takes the shot. It's knocked down by Gorsuch. On the rebound, it's wide. And the period will end with the Sockers leading.
Of indoor soccer. Now make plans to be a part of the action next year with your 86-87 soccer season tickets. See at least 26 regular season games and receive the benefits of being a season ticket holder. As a bonus, all season ticket holders paying in full will receive a Sockers photo ball. To get your season tickets, stop by the Sockers information tables at the next game or call the Sockers ticket office at...
Combination is last time. Coker off the boards to Quinn.
They really do work well together, Brian Quinn and Addy Coker. Coker plays it off the boards, and a perfect pass right off the boards, right in front to Brian Quinn, who got some heat up front, and then Quinney just would not give up and was able to sneak it by Lettieri for the first goal of the game.
Sockers took a couple of penalties, were able to kill them off, but then a power play goal for the Minnesota Strikers.
Sockers man short because of a handball called to goaltender Jim Gorsuch. Jan Goossens gets a rebound and just drills it to the far right post, near post, I should say, up top above Jim Gorsuch. And that made it 1-1 at the 8-minute mark of the second period.
We'll take a break. 2-1. With 25 to go in the power play. Back to Kutsukas. Now a bouncer into the corner. Quinn pressures Goossens. The ball will drop down to Segota. Bronco trying to get it out of trouble. Has it kicked away by Goossens. Calvillo had sprinted to midfield. Now 10 left in the power play. Probably the last chance here for Minnesota. Kutsukas a long pass for Dangerfield. Rebound Goossens, and Gorsuch ducked. That one went wide. Here's Segota. 2-on-1 with Quinn. Bronco to Brian Quinn. Back for Segota. Score!
The Sockers again on a counterattack. Gorsuch first off. Actually, Segota, and you'll see Segota teaming up with Brian Quinn. Back out to Segota. Drills it to the right side past Lettieri and makes it 3-1 Sockers as they come back on a counterattack after almost giving up a goal to Minnesota.
And those here in the sports arena, while it's early in the third period, are starting to sense what some felt was the inevitable. With the ball for the Sockers, they lead 3-1. A great pass ahead for Brian Quinn. It's over, and he scores! 4-1. What a pass by Gorsuch to Brian Quinn, Chuck.
Jimmy Gorsuch really did make the play happen because of his great outlet pass. One bounce from Gorsuch. Jimmy just heaving it down the right side. One bounce.
Boy, that was awfully close to three lines. I think it hit the line.
But a perfect lead pass to Brian Quinn, who goes to the open side of the net.
If you're watching us, we'll see it again and maybe see how close it was to that line. Right on the line. And then Quinn with another bouncing ball, and that gives it the velocity. 4-1 as Quinn has his third point. But let's not write the Strikers out of this yet. We've seen their tendency to come back. But the comeback the Sockers are on the verge now of engineering is one of the greatest ever. The first time a team has ever come back from this far to win in a championship series. This is only the second year that or make it the third year that the MISL has gone to a 7-game championship series. This is the first time out of 3 that it's gone to a 7th game. And the 4th period of Game 7 underway. Sockers are on the power play for another minute 15. This is Branko Segota. Hermes gives it away to Etherington. Gorsuch will come up to the red line and keep it alive. Hope you're enjoying the live simulcast on KTTY TV 69 in San Diego and KLZZ AM 600. V forced to go all the way to the right wing boards. Hermes will chase it down and bump it back for Jim Gorsuch with 50 seconds left in the San Diego power play. Here's V.
Sockers right now playing like they're trying to kill off a penalty instead of having a man advantage.
Here's Hermes. Back out to Segota with 30 left in the power play. Back to Hermes, the left footer, and it just missed. Herb Perez on the rebound. V shoots, and Tino's got it. And Julie, 7 out of 10 times, will bury that one into the back of the net. That time, Lettieri in the right spot. 15 seconds left in the power play. Dan Cantor with it. He'll knock it to midfield, but right to Segota. Here comes Branko with Perez and Coker. To Julie V. The shot. Coker's gone! It's time to measure thumbs.
Now, there's an old saying in soccer, thou shalt not give up a loose ball in front of the net. And that's exactly what will happen here as Segota to V and Julie off the boards. Lettieri gave up the rebound, basically. He had his hands on it, lost it. Coker right there to kick it on by.
And what sweet revenge for Addy Coker to score that on his nemesis, Tino Lettieri. What makes this such a disappointing loss for all Minnesotans is they were hoping for their first state championship in any professional sport. As they score now, Jeffries on a rebound. Their first championship in 34 years. Maybe they're not out of it yet. That makes it 5-2, and we get the officials' timeout on the field. We will pause with 5:25 left in the 4th period of the final game of the year. Jeffries plays it back to Fogarty. Here's Lodovegas. Down the wing, into the penalty area. Yusian's got it. Gets another chance, and he scores. And finally, Thompson Yusian scores, and now it's a 2-goal game. Well, perhaps we wrote the Strikers off a little early. It's 5-3, and the Sockers are 1 foul away from a penalty, which could make it 5-4 on a power play.
Well, the Strikers, you got to give them a lot of credit. They're certainly not giving up. As Yusian will chip in a loose ball in front, the ball just being bounced around, and Yusian able to control it. Goes right under Schmetter's legs and through Gorsuch for the goal.
So, 2 unanswered goals by the Strikers here in the 4th period. Now 4-0 prices and seat location, and join us here next season for all 26 home games as the Sockers, if they win here, will go after their 6th in a row.
Getting back to Tino Lettieri for just a minute, I think by and large the man has played very well in the nets considering all of the travel he's had to do, Randy. But I think if he made one giant glaring mistake in this series, it was burying the Sockers after the Strikers were up 3-1 and saying, this ain't going to go back to San Diego for Game 7 because we're going to win it in 6. That was a mistake.
It was. And now, if the Sockers can stay mistake-free for the next minute 49, they will leave here tonight, never to return until the fall with another championship. David Byrne will be the extra attacker for the Strikers. And you know, Chuck, I really think if Minnesota would have won this series, Lettieri would have been the MVP.
Well, there's no doubt about it. because he played so well in the nets early on.
Namdar is out there with V, Quinn, Crow, and Clavillo for San Diego, and the Strikers have their net empty, and David Byrne is their extra attacker. Both teams are at the foul limit, so the Sockers want to stay away from a foul here, which would give Minnesota a two-man advantage. Byrne from the red line gives it away to Julie V. He will poke it back to midfield, but Koutsoukis brings it back in. To Byrne with 1:25 left. Now left side, Lodovegas will let one go off the head of Quinn into the corner, and bicycle kicked out by Clavillo. Comes down to midfield. Byrne sends it back in. Lodovegas chesting it down. Nice finesse pass to Usian. Back to Lodovegas. Now to Usian. He turns, shoots, and right into the arms of Jimmy Gorsuch. Gorsuch lobbing it to midfield for Julie V. With a minute left, Julie will kick it way up high and out of play. Now 58 seconds to go. Brings it up to the red line. Byrne still with it. A toe poke shot hits Quinn, and it's out of play, and it's San Diego ball. 49 seconds remain, and the Sockers on the verge of the unthinkable, especially unthinkable after being down 3-1.
Boy, and everybody's standing in the sports arena right now. They can sense it.
Here's Lodovegas with 44 to go. Koutsoukis shooting, and it's wide. Lodovegas on the rebound, a missed kick, and Gorsuch has that. And Jim Gorsuch takes the timeout, and a good call.
It could have been.
Jim Gorsuch with the ball. He'll get it back from Kevin Crow and just smother it. Here's the chance on the empty net. Namdar in front, and he puts it through the crease line, but we had a whistle in the corner. And I think it will be, yes, the sixth foul to San Diego. So we will get a power play. We have just been informed, and I hate to take the drama away, but I'm going to, for those of you who may not stay with us for the post-game show. Brian Quinn has been named the playoff MVP this year in the MISL, and he'll receive the award down at midfield. So Quinn is the playoff MVP winner. So the Strikers will get a power play. And they kick it out of play. That took 5 seconds. And now Gorsuch.
And a lot of frustration by Thompson, you see, in that time.
Gorsuch takes it back.
Sensing defeat, just turned around and crank it in the direction of Gorsuch, but high above the net, into the crowd.
14 seconds remaining. Here's Clavillo. Up to the red line, sends it to center. Julie V with it, running into Byrne. 5 seconds. Clavillo at center. The game is over, and the Sockers have their one for the thumb.
Of them all, because the way they had to go about doing it. Sockers trailing into the series to Minnesota 3-1. Then they had to come back, of course, and win to make it 3-2. Then they had to go to Minnesota and win game 6, one which really looked like they weren't going to win, and they were able to come back with a skeleton crew because they had so many people hurt. They won there 6-3, and then the piece de resistance comes back in San Diego, the 7th and deciding game, the Sockers knocking off the Minnesota Strikers by a score of 5-3 in a very well-played 7th game. It's the first time we've ever had it in the MISL, the championship round, going the distance to 7 games. And it was a heck of a game tonight. 12,881 on hand, a sellout at the San Diego Sports Arena. We will be going down momentarily, just as soon as we're set up, to the field for the presentation of the MISL Championship Trophy. But the Sockers do, in fact, get one for the thumb, as the Sockers knock off Minnesota 5-3 and again win the 1985-86 MISL Championship 4-3. First time they've ever had to go the distance. But this one's probably, I think if you ask Ron Newman and some of the other players who have been here for a while, like Gene Wilrich,
ladies and gentlemen,
that this one might really be the
Commissioner
sweetest.
of the Major Indoor Soccer League, Bill Kentling.
Thank you, Randy. First, the owners of the Minnesota Strikers, Joe and Elizabeth Robbie, General Manager Tim Robbie. Here on behalf of the team, for Coach Alan Merrick and the team and the ownership group in Minneapolis, is the captain of the Minnesota Strikers, Alan Willie.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, representing Anheuser-Busch, and to make the presentation for the most valuable player in the playoffs from Anheuser-Busch, Bruce Hudson.
Thank you, Randy. On behalf of Anheuser-Busch and our Budweiser brand and Coast Distributing, I'd like to present the Budweiser Most Valuable Player Trophy for the playoffs to number 14 of the Sockers, Brian Quinn. Brian Quinn. Brian Quinn. Ladies and gentlemen, now for the Budweiser Gold Championship medallion, I'd like for Captain Gene Wilrich to come forward and accept this on behalf of the San Diego Sockers.
This is unbelievable. Without you fans, we could not do it. And this tonight, look at this bunch of players here. This is unbelievable. This is magnificent. I'm telling you.
Let me get one other person. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the city of San Diego is Councilman Bill Cleater with a few short words.
Thank you. The city is really proud of you, Sockers. You were fabulous. Thank you very much for giving us this trophy. 4-5. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This is what you've waited all season for. I'd like to ask Bob Bell, Coach Ron Newman, and again Captain Gene Wilrich to come forward. On behalf of the San Diego Sockers, you've won one for the thumb and the championship trophy.
just want to thank the city of San Diego and all of our great fans and all these great players for a phenomenal win, a phenomenal team, a phenomenal coach, and a phenomenal city. Thank you very, very much. I'd also like to thank, I think I would also ask you to give a great hand to the best opponents we've ever faced in the MISL and to their parents.
Quite a moment, one for the Thumbs. Sockers winning their 5th straight indoor championship as they knock off Minnesota tonight 5-3 in Game 7. We'll have more in our post-game activities right after these words. One for the Thumb. And we'll be back with more right after this.
"75 degrees and another beautiful day in America's finest city, but it's a busy one out in traffic. Let's check with Steve Springer in Air Watch 1. Steve?
Well, Randy, it's an absolutely horrendous day in traffic. Interstate 8 westbound is backed up starting in La Mesa, bumper to bumper all the way down to the sports arena. It seems a lot of people are on their way to that big game tonight.
Hey, San Diego, what's got you down? Do you need a winning team for a win in town? Then there's one thing I know for sure. A soccer's game is a miracle cure. Come on, sports fans, don't be glum. We've got the team that's #1. If you're down and feeling blue, ask Dr. Coker what to do.
Take this tonight and call me in the morning, cause you'll want more. They have it for me.
We're the Sockers, gold and blue. World championships are nothing new. We've won 1, 2, 3, and 4. But we're not done, we want some more. 4 rings to show that we're the best. Look for one more, it's all that's left. So come and join us in the fun. We're gonna get one for the thumb.
Double deuce and triple E. He's the one and only Julie V. He'll use his head, he'll use his feet. There's no defender that he can't beat.
In fact, I beat them like a drum. I'm gonna get one for the thumb.
Folks come and go, but never fear. Captain Wilrich is still here. The other players look to Gene to orchestrate this symphony.
The scoring always goes to sweet when I conduct them with my feet. Unbelievable.
Number 20 does it all. His shots take off like cannonballs. Over hill and over dale is how he'll hit the title trail.
I won't let my teammates down. They'll ride the Bronco to the crown.
We're the Sockers, you're the bands. We use our feet, you use your hands. Together we can have some fun. We're gonna get one for the thumb.
Welcome back to the